happened there for 3 weeks. That lady, what's up? Hi, be seated, please. You're still under your previous oath, Counsel.
Thank you, Justice. Mrs. Franks, we were dealing before the lunch adjournments with the payments that you received from the Department of Health, and you testified that you were receiving from September 2016, 150,000 Rand per month.
Yes.
And you testified that your monthly expenses for your staff members were 124,000 Rand per month.
Yes.
More or less.
Yes.
Our team has done some calculations over the lunch period, and I'd like to just get your response. That leaves us with 26,000 Rand per month for the other running costs, all of the costs other than staff at Anchor House. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Now, if we take the maximum amount of 73 patients whose needs must be met by 26,000 Rand, our calculation is that that leaves us with about 11 Rand 87 per patient per day for things like food, toiletries, clothing, linen, medication. Can I have your comment on that?
Okay, as I said, CCRC helped us with the food after that, and I bought toiletries for them. If I don't have enough, I use the SASSA money. And the clothes, I didn't buy any every month clothes. I try to buy them all the same sweaters so that we can identify them quickly.
So what you're saying, Mrs. Franks, is that this amount of money, you were receiving sufficient funds to keep Anchor House going?
That's right, madam.
And that it allowed you to provide sufficient food to the patients and a good environment for them to live in?
Yes.
I'm going to take you now to the evidence of some of the patients' families who Section 27 is representing. And in that regard, I'd like you to turn in file 9 to page 3019.
Which file?
Thank you.
3019.
3019, that's correct.
Yes, Councillor.
This is the affidavit of Bongane Sithole, who was the brother of the late Bekumuzi Robert Sithole. And it's not necessary to go through the affidavit in detail. I'll highlight the key aspects of it for you. Mr. Sithole states that he knew that his brother was going to be discharged from Life Esidimeni, but the next he heard about his brother was the call that he had passed away. And I'd just like to read to you from paragraph 7 of the affidavit. It starts at page 3020. He says, on 18 July, I received a call from a woman who identified herself as Dorothy. She called from the number 072-803-0302. She told me that Becky was dead and he was at the morgue at Mamelodi Hospital and I must go collect him. I went to Mamelodi the next day, 19 July. I arrived in the morning and spoke to the reception. Dorothy was not there. I got in contact with her and she said she would come by at 15 o'clock. She never arrived. Eventually, I spoke to a person working in the morgue, and he said that because Dorothy was not there to provide Becky's ID, I should go to the police station to make an affidavit. I did so. When I saw Becky, he had a bandage on his head and bruises on his shoulder, arm, and leg. I took Becky and we made funeral arrangements and buried Becky. Our whole family was devastated. I'd like you then to turn to page 027. Which is Mr. Sitole's notice of death. And if you could have next to you to compare ELAH 51. ELAH 51 includes Robert Sitole as one of the people who passed away at Anchor, and lists lung infection as type of death, or I would assume cause of death. The death notice on page 3027 states that the cause of death in the middle is cardiopulmonary. I'm sorry, I can't actually read the cause of death. Thanks.
No?
It's
Sorry.
the cause of death, although not easily legible, lists some cardiopulmonary arrest, and then on the next line, unfortunately the first word is illegible, but then it reads lung disease. So that appears to be consistent with ELAH 51, lung infection. I'd like to get your comments on a few things, Mrs. Frank.
Yes.
The first is, would you agree with me that a death caused by lung infection is consistent with an environment of neglect?
Environment meaningly?
Would you agree with me that if the patients had been in a well-ventilated, healthy environment, that the risk of lung disease could have been controlled?
I really don't know about that.
So if I say to you that the cause of death was related to the neglect of Mr. Sitole, would you agree or disagree?
I really disagree because I didn't see it in that sense.
How did you see
Because
it?
there was air conditioners. And it was warm enough.
And so your indication is that you disagree with that proposition?
Yes, because I didn't see it in that sense, because we were really looking after them.
Okay.
Well, whatever the cause was, you had no skills and knowledge to deal with it, isn't it? Counsel, we're dealing with somebody who has no proficiency in the particular area.
Yes, Justice.
No amount of proposition like that would take us anywhere, isn't it so? You undertook a work that you really knew, frankly, nothing about.
Okay, but as I said, the nurses was there for Cullinan and for base copies.
What will the nurse do with the cardiovascular arrest? You tell me.
Okay, they should have picked it up and then reported it.
They should have picked it up and
Yes.
reported it. And why did you do this? Why did you gamble with other people's lives? Take them in and say, I can look after you, and well over $1 million, take their grant money and they die in your hands. Why do you do that? Without a proper license, at the wrong premises, without professional staff, without their medical records, but you just went on and end month after month. And you want us to believe you are innocent. How do we get to that conclusion? Is there any response from you?
I really don't have, because as I'm saying, as far as I know, we actually try to keep them in a healthy condition.
And you failed here, didn't you? At least 5 people died in your hands in 3 months. Do you think that's a great record? It's a great outcome?
No. No,
And
Justice.
I was just thinking over lunch, why did you simply go ahead and put female patients and male patients all in one ward?
Actually, they was put in there by health, because
They were pushing you.
health department, yes.
Come again?
Health department brought them in, and we just have to separate them in different.
Yeah, but you were happy to go along and to charge a fee and file claim forms. Why didn't you say this is wrong?
We were really pressurized on that.
And what about your Christian values? I mean, here human beings are vulnerable, and you realize on your evidence that the harm might come to them. Why don't you do the right thing? Rather than just take the money month after month after month, long after your contract, continue just drawing money. Why did you do that? And not do the right thing and say, I can't do this, these people are at risk, they're human beings, they have dignity, they deserve to be looked after in the proper place. Why didn't that come to your mind?
Okay, there was things that we said to help, because if in the one ward, they must help us in all the way, and they said, like, sometimes the air conditioners doesn't go on, sometimes
I don't know
it
what
goes
you're
on.
saying. I said to you, why didn't you put your foot down and say, I won't do something that would lead to the death of other people?
As you're saying, I should have done that, and I didn't.
Yes, but the question is, why didn't you do it? And if you did that, you would have stopped earning, isn't it?
It's righteous.
That is right, isn't it?
It's,
What was your
it's
answer?
justice.
Yes.
I should have done that.
Yes. And did you draw money of grants on patients who had died? Isn't it? You continue drawing money of patients who had died. What is your answer?
Oh, yes, just.
I can hear no answer. Do you
Yes,
want to
just.
answer the question?
Yes,
Yes.
but I couldn't help. I was working
Counsel.
on that.
Thank you, Justice. Before we move on, Mrs. Franks, you said to the Justice we were really pressurized. Who pressurized you?
The health department came and they said, you must do this, you must do that, you must. And
Who
if
in
they-
the health department?
Okay, every time when they come and do an inspection, it's Dr. Malamela, and the MEC was also there once.
So you were pressurized by the MEC and Dr. Manamela.
Yes, that you must just do as they say.
And your testimony is that you didn't resist that pressure because you were scared that you would stop earning.
My testimony is that I had workers there to be paid.
You had workers to be paid.
That's right. The workers was not paid for 3 months.
And you're saying that you weren't worried that you would stop receiving money for your own benefit from the Department of Health.
Well,
Or to put it differently, my proposition is that your concern was that you would stop receiving money and benefiting from the Department of Health.
let me just get it clear.
You didn't resist that pressure from Dr. Manamela and MEC Mahlangu, because if you had done so, if you had said no, you would have
Yes.
stopped receiving money for your
Yes,
own benefit.
I
Yes,
should
the
have
witnesses
stopped it.
said yes
Okay.
already.
I should
Thank
have
you.
stopped it, yes.
I'd like to take you then to file 10. I think if somebody could assist you to get that file.
Thank you.
Yes, Councillor.
And to turn to page 3382.
Yes, Councillor.
This is the affidavit we referred to it earlier of Tamsanqa Philip Mtembu, who was the brother of Emily Mtembu. And Emily, like other patients, her family did not know where she had been transferred to, but eventually her family found her at Anchor. And I'd like to read to you from paragraph 16 of that affidavit, which is at page 3385. Tandi and I went to CCRC at the end of
Sorry.
April.
3385.
3385.
Yes, Councillor.
Tandi and I went to CCRC at the end of April. We discovered that Emily was, at the time, in the hospital section of the facility as she was not feeling well, but that she had been placed at Anchor NGO within the CCRC. Emily was clean and smelt good, but was screaming and would not allow us to touch her. We didn't know what was wrong, but I found the screaming very disturbing and couldn't manage more than a 10-minute visit. Tandi stayed with Emily for longer. Emily's face looked fine, but her body was very thin. When we visited Emily again, we brought her a 6-pack of Danone yogurts. She ate all of them, one after the other. She was clearly very hungry. We didn't have any more food to give her. She drank a lot of water that we gave to her. Before we move on, the proposition based on that client's evidence is that there was, in fact, insufficient food and water at at Anchor. Can I have your response to that?
What was the date on that?
This was the end of April 2016.
End of April.
That's correct.
April. I didn't. The end of April.
If I can just take instructions. I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. It appears that Emily was discharged to CCRC and then moved to Anchor. and that was around June 2016.
June 2016, I didn't have patients yet.
You had no patients?
No.
Do you remember Emily Mthembu?
I just want to check on my list. Was she with? Sorry, what's the surname?
Mthembu.
I can't find it on my list here. Mthembu.
Her family has testified that they were told she was placed at anchor. Do you dispute that?
I dispute it. I don't see her on my list. Can you spell the surname for me, sorry?
MTH?
MTH.
EMBU.
Was she discharged from CCRC?
Those
Because
are our
this is the list
instructions.
that I have. I don't see a name on my list here.
Well, let's put the proposition to the witness you want to make. The witness might be able or unable to give a definitive answer.
Thank you, Justice. The first proposition is that there was insufficient food and water at anchor.
Was that the date on the 16th of June?
No, sorry, my proposition to you, moving on from the list, is that there was insufficient food and water at Anchor House. If you could respond to that.
Not as far as I know.
Not as far as you know. Okay. We heard earlier in the arbitration also, Mrs. Franks, from Ntombi Futi Dladla. And her loved one was Joseph Gumede, who is listed on ELAH 51, having passed away on the 24th of July, 2016.
Yes, Councillor.
Ntombi Futi testified earlier in this arbitration that she last saw her brother in December 2015, that she was visiting him once a month while she was at Life Esidimeni, and that she eventually only found out on the 10th of February 2017 that he had passed away on the 24th of July 2016. Can I have your comment on that, please?
Yes, Councillor. As far as I know, that in the file, we couldn't find any family members. And I gave the file also to Daphne just to check for me on social media, and she said she'll follow up on that. And I've got mails that I sent to Daphne just to check for me.
ELAH 51 reflects that the family was not traceable. But our client has testified, Mrs. Ladler has testified, that her contact details were on Mr. Gumede's patient file, and that she visited regularly while he was at Life Esidimeni, and so those contact details were up to date.
Well, as far as I know, we couldn't trace the family. And
What steps did you take to trace the family?
Okay, as I'm saying, when we check on the file and we gave the file over to Daphne, if she maybe had some information on Joseph's, further information on Joseph Gumede, and then she must trace it for me on social media.
Mrs. Franks, are you referring when you talk about Daphne to Daphne and Lovu?
Yes, Councillor.
according to her testimony, she was not employed at Anchor House. She was employed by Cullinan.
Yes, but according to the CEO, all the files which we had problems on tracing, we must give to the CEO, then she will give it over to Daphne to clarify that for us.
And so you placed reliance on the social worker of another institution to trace the
That's right,
family.
yes.
Okay. I'd like to refer you now to Mrs. Jabulile Hlatswayo, who hasn't yet testified. She will testify later in this arbitration. And she's going to testify about the death of her stepson, Sizwe Hlatswayo, who was moved to Odirile, then to Anchor House, then to CCRC. Like many of our other clients, Mrs. Hlatswayo will testify that she only found out where Sizwe was after he had passed away. Sizwe is recorded in ELAH 51. Do you see him there?
Yeah, 51, yes. Wait, 51.
Yes.
I don't have it. Yes, Councillor.
Do you see that the date of Sizwe's death is 10 September 2016?
Yes, Councillor.
And do you see that there are contact details for Jabulile? Her name is there, Mrs. Hlatswayo, and a contact number. Do you see that?
On
that same page, one column to the left of the date of death.
Yes, Councillor.
So despite having the contact details, Mrs. Hlatswayo's testimony will be that you only advised her of Sizwe's death on the 3rd of October 2016.
Yes, Councillor, I'm sorry, but this we filled in after we definitely got a hold of her.
You filled this in after Daphne
Yes.
got hold of Mrs. Hlatswayo?
That's right, yes.
Okay. Mrs. Hlatswayo will come and testify about the way that she found where Sizwe was and the way that she found out that he had passed away. I'd like to just, sorry, if you could give me a moment. So an affidavit from Mrs. Hlatswayo appears in file 9.
This is 10.
If somebody could assist you to get file 9. You've got it,
I've got it.
okay. At page 3201.
Yes, Councillor.
This is the affidavit of Mrs. Hlatswayo, and I'd like you to turn over to page 3205.
Yes, Councillor.
I'm not going to read out this whole paragraph to you, but on 3206, it appears that despite Mrs. Ndlovu having said that there were no medical files and no contact details for the Hlatswayo family, Mrs. Hlatswayo saw that there were in fact 2 files for him on her desk, one of which had come from Life Esidimeni and had Sizwe's discharge information on it.
On whose desk was it?
It was on Mrs. Ndlovu's desk
Yes.
at Cullinan.
Yes, Councillor.
I put it to you then that you did have the family contact details.
No, the files, as she saw it on Daphne's desk, that files wasn't given to us.
And so you were at Anchor House,
Yes.
and your patient files were at another institution.
I really don't know what, because we will keep on asking for the files and for the IDs. And they didn't supply us with it.
You kept asking for the files and the IDs. They kept them at Cullinan, and that was the reason you couldn't identify some of your patients?
That's right, just because they didn't give us any files.
It was the reason you couldn't provide some of your patients with the medication that they needed?
Okay, the medication they gave us as prescription.
But it was also the reason that you couldn't contact family members after the deaths
That's right,
of some of
yes.
the patients. I'd like you to turn now to page 3213. Which lists Sizwe's cause of death. In the middle of the page, it states that his immediate cause of death is pneumonia. Do you see that?
Yes, Councillor.
My proposition to you, Mrs. Franks, is that the neglect at Anchor House contributed to Sizwe contracting pneumonia, which was his cause of death.
Okay, as far as I know, we took him to the hospital, and the hospital gave us a prescription, a document that says he's got a throat infection.
A throat infection,
Yes,
but his cause of death is listed as pneumonia.
I don't know, because that's what we got from the hospital. And because
Was
we
he
didn't,
seen by any doctor before going to Mamelodi?
Dr. Labello just checked them all, but not that
No.
day.
When Mr.
Not that
Thatcher
day.
was ill, was he seen by a doctor?
No, not at the center.
There was none, isn't it? There was
No.
no doctor to see him.
No.
No.
So we took him.
Anyway, let's go ahead, Council.
And so none of the care workers picked up that he could have had pneumonia and needed to be referred to a doctor.
No, because he was just complaining of a stomach ache. So that's why we took him to the hospital and checked. So the hospital tell us that he's got throat infections.
And he didn't improve on his antibiotics for his. Did he receive antibiotics for his throat infection?
From the hospital, yes.
And did he improve after that?
Just a little bit, then he goes down again. And because of the ID, that night the doctor doesn't want to keep him there, the hospital.
What do you mean because of the ID?
He said he haven't got an ID, he's just going to check him and then just give him medication and come out.
Did you apply for identity documents for those patients that didn't have IDs?
No, because health department and all the others were linked with one another with Life and CRC said they will see that we will have the IDs on
How
the
many-
later stages.
How many patients didn't have identity documents?
It's almost 30 to 31.
And so am I correct in saying that for all of those patients, there would have been a restriction in hospital care?
Well, we had problems if we take them to the hospital. I have to actually kneel down and say, please, can you just check this patient for me?
So for almost 30 patients, the hospital was refusing to take them because they didn't have IDs.
Okay, I didn't take all of them, yes.
In the event that all 30 of them were ill.
I don't know whether they will refuse it because we took it up with the health department and say, we're picking up problems at the hospital that they don't want to take the patients if there's no ID and identification.
And so in light of these problems, your solution was to wait for those ID books to be issued, for those ID cards to be issued.
Yes, they said they will send it over to us.
So
if they receive it.
You took no proactive steps to make sure that they could be issued as soon as possible?
No, I didn't apply for IDs.
I'm going to refer you now to the evidence of Christian Ngodwane, who testified earlier in the arbitration. He was the father of Vuyo Ngodwane.
Yes, Councillor.
The family testified that Mr. Ngodwane testified that the family was advised that Vuyo was moved to Cullinan, but you'll see ELAH 9 in front of you.
Yes, Councillor.
And this is a report entitled Cullinan Care and Rehabilitation Centre Report around transferring of patients from Life Esidimeni, dated 19 April 2017. This document records that Vuyo was actually at Anchor House. Can you confirm that he was at Anchor House?
Yes, Councillor.
You can. Mr. Ngodwane testified that he saw Vuyo at Anchor and that when he saw him, he had lost a lot of weight, his complexion was very dark, and that Mr. Ngodwane was concerned that he wasn't being properly looked after. He then testified that when Vuyo passed away, he went to the mortuary, noticed that the thermometer was not working, and that Vuyo was bleeding from the mouth. There was a ball of cotton wool in his mouth. Now, that's consistent with your evidence that there was a stage at which the mortuary, as you said, was not working. Is that correct?
That's right, Councillor.
And so Vuyo Nkondwane's body was stored in a mortuary that wasn't fully operational.
Okay, as I can mention there, on that time I wasn't there. I have left already when Vuyo died.
But as the CEO of Anchor, do you take responsibility for that issue?
No, because I wasn't there. They said I must leave.
Yeah,
And
but you're quite happy to receive the money every month and to say your employees are still there.
Yes, because the CEO, Matilda Malaza, said I mustn't come near any
Yeah,
patient.
you're only good to receive the money, not to take responsibility for anything, is it?
Yeah, but she said she will now check all the patients and she have enough nursing staff to
Nurses,
check.
and you just receive the money.
Because I had to pay my care workers.
Yeah.
Just the care workers, but the nursing staff was from Cullinan.
But the care workers, sorry,
Put
Justice.
your propositions, Councillor. Let's go.
The care workers were still reporting to you.
That's right, yes. But actually, they were there and she will make sure that they report to the operational manager.
But they were still reporting to you as well.
I just had to pay them.
You just had to pay them. And so you were their employer?
That's what she said. So I said she will make sure that they report to the matron's office.
So you employed the care workers, you received the money, but you don't take responsibility for storing the bodies of our clients' loved ones in a mortuary that wasn't working.
As I said, that I didn't put them there because she was responsible for that.
But even when you were there, the mortuary was not working.
Yeah, that's why I took one of my patients not there.
Yeah. So why are we wasting time on this? The mortuary was not working when you were there and you know about it.
But I didn't know they took Vuyo to the mortuary because they didn't inform me.
Councillor.
I'd like to refer you to ELAH 41.
Yes, Councillor.
This is a post-mortem report in respect of Vuyo Nkondwane. And on page 2 of that report, we see the chief post-mortem findings, which I'm going to read to you. The body is that of an adult black male with flexion deformities of both knees and ankle joints and associated thickening and hyperpigmentation of the skin of the dorsal aspects of these joints, in keeping with restricted ante-mortem mobility. Muscle wasting is also present, involving the thighs and lower legs, the distribution of which alludes to disuse atrophy of these muscles. Examination of the stomach content reveals a large piece of orange plastic sheeting, resembling what could possibly be part of a plastic bag. Microscopic examination of lung sections reveals foreign material with the, and I hope I'm pronouncing this properly, parenchyma with associated inflammation. The cause of death was determined to be aspiration pneumonia. Do you have a comment on that?
I really don't have.
My proposition, sorry, continue.
Because as I'm saying, I was already out there.
We also heard earlier in this arbitration from Christine Nkumalo, whose sister, Virginia Makpela, passed away at Precious Angels, but was briefly at Anchor House. Ms. Nkumalo testified that she received an SMS on the 30th of June 2016 to say that her sister had been transferred to Cullinan on that day. Now I'd like you to turn to ELAH 50.
Yes, Councillor.
On the third page of that annexure, sorry, of that document, towards the bottom of the page, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines from the bottom, we see an entry for, it says Virginica, but I assume that's a typo and that it should read Virginia Makpela.
Yes, Councillor.
It shows that she was admitted to Anchor.
Is it Virginia?
Virginia.
Yes.
It shows that she was admitted to Anchor on the 29th of June 2016 and transferred straight to Precious Angels on the 29th of June 2016.
Yes, Councillor.
The information given to Mrs. Nkumalo, though, was that she was transferred to Cullinan and not to Anchor, and that she was transferred there on the 30th of June, and there was no information regarding a further transfer to Precious Angels.
Okay, what I know of, the live patients came in with a bus, EMS, and as I said, I didn't have any space for all the patients. So when Dr. Malamela and Franz and Anna and Rochelle Gordon came in there, I said, I can't accommodate all these patients. So they said not to worry, Ethel is coming, and Franz and Dr. Malamela, and they will take these patients that will overcrowd me directly with the same bus to Ethel's place. That's why they were transferred immediately. I didn't even know some of those patients.
And nobody took responsibility for informing the families as to the correct locations of their loved ones?
No, actually, Hannah or Rochelle should have done that because they said they will take responsibility for that.
But nobody in fact did.
Yes.
But why did you record her as having been admitted to Anchor?
I marked it off.
Why is Ms. Virginia Makapela on your list?
Okay, according to to the patients that came in. That's why I marked it off that the 29th, these patients came in. And then I marked off when do they exactly go to Pumi.
But did she come in and became part of your patient list? I don't want to waste too much time with this. Just want to know, why is she on your list? Was she admitted to and then transferred to Precious Angels?
I made this list because it's an in and out.
Did she come onto your premises and leave again?
Yes, immediately.
Go on,
yes,
Councillor.
Justice.
Thank you, Justice. Mrs. Franks, the last person I want to talk to you about is Charity Rotsotso, and I know that we've spoken about Charity quite a bit today. We're going to hear later in this arbitration from Charity's sister Nono, who will testify that the family thought that Charity was at Cullinan, that they went to visit him at Cullinan on a few occasions, and that when they went to visit him, the staff at Cullinan said, "Oh, we're not sure where Charity is." There was some telephonic exchange during which they continued to say they're not sure where Charity is. What had in fact happened was that he had moved to Anchor. He passed away there on the 11th of July 2016, and his family was informed in December 2016. What is your response to that?
Yes, Councillor. As I was saying, according to us, Charity, he wasn't identified by us because we didn't even know we have a charity there. That's why it was still with Cullinan. And we asked in numerous times that they must give us the file so that we can identify. And when Charity got sick that night, I didn't know it was Charity. According to us, there was unknown patients that we couldn't identify. And we took him to the hospital. And when we took him to the hospital, the referral letters that was given to Cullinan gave the referral letter to the EMS and took him to the hospital. And he was, then later, I don't know, I heard from Daphne that they called Cullinan to say the unknown patient passed away. But I didn't know that was Charity.
Okay, so at the time of his death, you still didn't know Charity.
Yes,
Is that the reason, Mrs. Franks, that Charity doesn't appear on the list of deceased on ELAH 51?
Yes, Councillor.
He does, however, appear on the Ombuds list of deceased on ELAH 4.
Yes, because Daphne went and she identified him in the mortuary of Mamelodi. And she said that is Charity.
When was ELAH 51? That was from December 2016, is that correct? ELAH 51.
Yes, that's why I didn't put it on the list because I had it as an unknown patient.
Okay. One of the issues we're struggling with in this arbitration, Mrs. Franks, is to finalize a list of deceased and where all of those deceased were. And so we're just trying to work out what information was available when. Did you advise the Ombud that Charity had passed away at Anchor?
I definitely advised them because I didn't advise them because I didn't know what was the name of the patient yet.
Okay. And that's the reason that he is on the Ombuds list?
Yes.
And not on the list that you prepared?
Yes, Councillor.
Charity...
But where did she die? Where did Charity die?
In the hospital.
From your facility?
That's right, yes.
Why don't you know her name?
Okay, Councillor, as I was saying, as they were putting all the pushing all the patients in. I keep on saying they must come and identify. Nobody had a identification on them. And we were just trying to sort it out according to the to our prescription list. And as we go through to the prescriptions list, we ask who's this and who's this. And we couldn't find out charities'
If somebody
identification.
comes into your facility, you're supposed to look after them. You don't even know their name until they die. How did that happen?
Because Cullinan, we asked them to come and identify, but when he got sick, we just had to take him to the hospital as an unknown patient.
Counsel.
Mrs. Franks, Charity wasn't the only unidentified person at Cullinan. Excuse me, at Anchor, was he?
As far as I know, only Charity.
As far as you know, only Charity.
Yes.
And so there could be no reconciliation to work out that the unidentified patient you had was in fact Charity Rotsoso.
Sorry, I'm not clear.
You didn't have sufficient records to work out if there's one unidentified patient and one patient whose whereabouts are unknown, that could be Charity.
No, we couldn't.
The post-mortem reports, there were 2 post-mortem reports that were prepared after Charity's death. One was a state post-mortem report, and then the family sought the services of a private pathologist as well.
Just remind me of the last name.
Ratsoso.
Yes, it's Ratsoso. Thank you.
Mrs. Franks, again, we have a death caused at Anchor by pneumonia. And in that regard, I'd like you to turn, if I can just find it. We're in file 11.
Take some of these away, huh? And take all except the...
Yes, Councillor.
I'd like you to turn to page 3881.
Three, eight.
3881.
Yes, Councillor.
This is the report on a medico-legal post-mortem examination. So this is the post-mortem report that the Ratsoso family obtained from the state. If you can see at the bottom, it says, just above the signature, in keeping with food aspiration, complicated by necrotizing pneumonia. That's recorded as the cause of death. Do you see that?
Yes, Councillor.
I'd now like you to turn to page 3899.
Well, what is the question about that?
I'm getting there, Judge. If I can just ask one more question, and then I'll put the proposition to the witness,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Yes, Councillor.
Page 3899 is the post-mortem report that the family procured privately. And we see on page 3901 that the cause of death is consistent with pneumonia. Do you see that?
On page 3899, eh?
3901 is the cause of death.
390.
course, you can put it to the witness that in the two reports, this is what it is.
Yes, Councillor.
And see whether she can dispute it. I don't think she can.
So,
And then put the question.
thank you, Justice. The two post-mortem reports therefore confirm that the cause of death was pneumonia. Do you agree?
That's right, it shows, yeah.
I then have to ask you, Mrs. Franks, if there were 5 deaths at Anchor and 3 of them were caused by pneumonia, can you please provide us an explanation for that?
I really don't have an explanation because I didn't even know they were dying of pneumonia.
You didn't know that they were dying of pneumonia?
No, I didn't have the post-mortem.
Well, you can put frankly to the witness your conclusion, and she can respond to that. She's not an expert witness. She can't talk about cause of death effectively. But your conclusion is that this is a sign of neglect of care to the patients.
Thank you, Justice, it
I ask
is.
you to put it to the witness, and she must tell you whether she denies that. And if she does, why does she deny it?
Mrs. Franks, my proposition is that the prevalence of pneumonia among these patients is evidence of neglect at Anchor House. Can you respond to that?
I'm thinking now what could have happened because there was 2 wards. I know the one ward didn't add aircon and the other one did. So maybe that's where, because we keep on asking FMU to fix, but they were actually kept warm and everything.
Those are my questions, Justice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Advocate Krause.
Thank you, Justice Musanehi. Ms. Franks, my name is Lila Krause. I appear with Nzame Skibi for the survivors of the Marathon Project. Can I start off by asking you to look, please, at ELAH 51. It's a document that you've brought to the fore. The second page of that document, the healthcare user number 40 on that document. Do you see him? Siswen Kosi.
Yes, Councillor.
Can you remember him?
Yes, Councillor.
His sister visited him quite often. Is that so?
Yes, Councillor.
I must put it to you that his sister is full of praise for what you've done for him. She said that you cared with limited resources very well for him. Do you have any comment to that?
I can just say thank you.
She also said that you use your own transport to go to clinics and hospitals, your own car, 40 kilometers away. Would that be a true reflection?
Yes, Councillor, only to the clinics.
And she also
So
said...
the patient is who, Bafana Nkosi?
Siswen Kosi, number 40.
Thank you.
She also indicated that you used your own money to supply food for the patients. Is that so?
Yes, Councillor.
And just from her side, she wants to thank you for that.
Thank you, Councillor.
Can I just... I've listened to your evidence and it's been a very long day and I don't want to tire you further. I think we can understand, despite this praise coming to you, that you were overwhelmed. You weren't competent to undertake this task. Would you agree with me? Looking back now, you wouldn't have done it again if you had the option.
I won't do it again, yes.
Yes. And the reason for that is that you were ill-equipped to handle this large number of patients. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, Councillor.
Yes. I just want to understand the timeline of what happened, and we've been through this a few times, so I don't want to belabor the point. As I understand your evidence, and correct me if I'm not correct, your contract was effectively ended on the 31st of October 2016. Is that right? Anchor's contract.
Okay.
Just yes or no at this stage. I'll give you a chance to explain.
Okay.
Is that right? And you left the premises on the 7th of November 2016?
Yes, Councillor.
But all your patients remained behind?
Yes, Councillor.
And all your staff remained behind?
Yes, Councillor.
But you were removed from the premises?
Yes, and I don't. Yes.
Okay. Can I just understand what happened to Siabedinga? You said that you met the owner of Siabedinga.
Yes, Councillor.
According to her evidence, she left, and it seems to me her patients remained on the 12th of July 2016.
Yes, Councillor.
Is that what happened?
Yes, Councillor.
So after the 12th of July, Siabedinga was no more there.
Yes.
Who cared for those patients?
CCRC was supposed to do that.
And your patients that remained behind, who cared for them?
The care workers and CCRC's professionals that care for them.
Because what I want to put to you is that this mental health care user, Siswen Nkosi,
Yes, Councillor.
his sister says he was starved after you left. Would you agree with that, or can't you agree?
I don't know about it.
Okay. Did you ever enter into a service level agreement with the department?
Yes, Councillor.
Do you know when?
April, but I can't remember the exact date now.
Okay. It seems to me, if I listen to what you've testified, that you had some personal losses.
Yes, Councillor.
Okay, can you tell us about that?
Okay, the personal losses that I had was when I went to California and I renovated the place there.
So you expended on renovations in a place that you
Yes.
could not use.
Yes,
How much was that?
I didn't keep all my,
More or less.
more or less 20 to 25.
Yes, what else?
And then I went to Cullinan, and they asked me to also, because there was ceilings not right and all that, and I fix all, I do some renovations also there.
And
but
how much was that?
That was not a lot, it was almost 5,000 to 6,000.
And the money that you were paid later, could you refund yourself for that?
No, Councillor.
I just want to further, and this has also been dealt with before, I just want to make sure that I understand this. We have the license that was given to you that's dated 1 April. You've had it before you many times today.
Yes, Councillor.
And you said that Rochelle Gordon brought it to you at the time.
Yes, Councillor.
Can you remember when was this? Because it wouldn't have been on the 1st of April because you weren't registered. So I'm just trying to get the timeline, if you can help us. Was it still in April, or was it in May, or was it in June when you had your patients?
Sorry, they dated it on April, but she brought it, I think it was beginning of June when I was busy, and the 16th of June.
I'm sorry, you're not speaking into the microphone. Can you just repeat?
I said we were in a meeting that they said they will bring our licenses to us. So the licenses is already finalized, so that's why she brought it to me round about 16, 17 June.
2016.
Yeah. Yes, Councillor.
So although the license are dated the 1st of April, you only received that
That's
no,
yes, Councillor.
no, you must wait until I finish, otherwise you don't know what you're saying yes to. It's only in the middle of June 2016 that you've received it.
Yes, Councillor.
And you knew the license wasn't right? Can I think, or can I suggest to you that you thought that it was, you can continue because the department is okay with you continuing?
Yes, Councillor, but they said they will finalize it to the new addresses.
Knowing what you know now, you realize
Yeah.
that was wrong, hey?
Yes, Councillor.
Can I just also, and I'm going back in time, I'm sorry, I don't want to confuse you, but you remember the first meeting that you had, you were invited to the meeting on, I think, the 9th of November, and then you attended the meeting on the 13th of November 2015. Remember that meeting?
Yes, Councillor.
What reason were given at that meeting to move the live Esidimeni patients?
Okay, they didn't elaborate on the reason. They just said they've got a project that the live Esidimeni patient will be moved to different NGOs.
Okay, I just want to understand what went on in your head. What happened in that meeting that convinced you to, without the necessary expertise, go and register an NPO? What happened there that made you want to be part of this?
Okay, what happened there is just that I just want to help in this sense.
Did they offer any rewards at all?
No.
Were there
Councillor.
pressure put on you to make you offer your services? What would make a person without the necessary competence do this? I just want to understand that.
Okay, as I was saying, I did work with these patients. That's why I thought it would be good just to render my services for them.
So you didn't experience any pressure at that meeting?
No.
And why did you want to do it separate from your employer at the time?
Because
I've
there
asked you
wasn't,
this before.
there
If I ask
wasn't
this again, I want to know why.
justice, there wasn't any space on the previous one.
Yeah, why didn't you look for space under your employer's name, but your own?
Because this was a church project, and they had the house of the church, which they used there for that project.
And why did you expand the church? Didn't you expand the church's project and keep it under the church rather than keep it under yourself?
I didn't think of that. Sorry, Justice.
Was it because it was obviously going to be lucrative? You're going to get money
No, Justice.
per patient.
No,
Did you
Justice.
ask for a license for 150 people?
Health department had
No, just
a
answer
list
me,
of
please.
patients.
Did you ask for a license for 150 people?
Did I ask? Sorry, Justice.
Did you apply for a license to look after 150 people?
No, what happened, they first had to inspect the place and see how many you can accommodate. So
No, but
that's
did
why
you-
in
Did you
Calafon,
apply for a license for 150 people? Because that's what was issued. Or did the department impose that on
yes,
you?
yes, because they
You
were
did.
looking at a place and they said this place will accommodate 150
You
at
did
Calafon
you did apply.
for the
For
150.
450 people.
As I'm saying, they came and looked at Calafon.
I know you're putting it on
Sorry.
everybody else. I want to know whether you gave them the number, 150.
Yeah, they came and checked how many spaces we have.
Now, when
in-
you applied, did you say how many people you wanted?
No, I didn't say
You
how
ended
many
up with
people.
72, but did you apply for 150?
They didn't say, they first inspect how many patients you can accommodate in Kalafong. And then...
How many did you say you could accommodate in your application?
I didn't give them an amount.
So they wrote in the number 150.
Yeah, according to the space in Kalafong.
And that would have been Dr. Manamela,
Yes.
who picked the number for you. Now, when I look at, and you are going to earn 3,490 per person per month, times 150, what amount is that? If that had come through, that would have been how much? 100 would have been 3.4 million, and half of that would have been 1.2 million.
For the 150, Justice.
For the 150, isn't it? You are a financial person, aren't you?
Justice.
So that would have been nearly 3,490,000 plus half of that. And that would have been 1.72 million. That's nearly, what is the calculation, Council?
Yes.
6,282,000.
450.
If the full quota had been given to you, that's what you would have earned, isn't it?
Yes, Justice.
You can continue, Council.
Thank you, Justice. It seems to me, if I have regard to the evidence that Ms. Jacobs introduced you to the people at CCRC on the day that your first patients came. Was
Yes.
that the first time that you were at the premises ready to receive patients?
Yes, Councillor.
Did you have any personnel at that stage?
Yes, Councillor.
Can you just tell us who you had?
Sorry, Councillor?
What personnel did you have at that stage, so the 23rd of June 2016, when you first got your first patients?
Okay, I had 26 care workers and 1 professional nurse.
And they were working shifts?
That's right, Councillor.
How many per shift?
Okay. Sure now, but we try to work it out 7, 7, 7, 7.
7 care workers per
Yeah.
shift.
Yeah, but when we start, yes, Councillor.
And how was the laundry done?
Okay. Firstly, we did the laundry in the bathroom. But
Without a washing machine?
with the washing machine.
With a washing machine.
Yes. But the next week they said we must go to the laundry room.
I have it that the former MEC in July 2017 came to you and said that Anchor and Sia Bedinga must use the hospital kitchen and use the same, and they needed a washing machine and a stove. What do you say to that? Can you remember that happened?
Sorry, what date was it?
In July, end of July 2017.
Yes, Councillor.
2016, sorry, 2016.
2016. Yes, Councillor. She just came and do inspections because that time Sia Badinga didn't want to share the kitchen with us because they were working there. And we were using our small kitchen to cook in. And so she said, that's not acceptable. We must use the big we must use it together, the kitchen and the laundry.
But at that stage, Siabedinga wasn't really actually there. It was CCRC doing on their behalf at the end of July.
Yes, Councillor.
So it was CCRC they didn't want to share with you.
Okay, but when she left on the 12th of July,
And according to the Ombuds report, it was the end of July that the MEC visited there.
no, I'm not sure about that date, but
Okay.
when Siabedinga left on the 12th, CCRC provided us with food.
And were you told to build a cold room by the MEC?
No, they said the cold room we can use on top where the kitchen is.
So you weren't told to build a cold room?
No.
Thank you. Just lastly, if you can assist us. You got your first patients on the 23rd of June. Got
Yes.
your second bunch of patients on the 29th of June.
Yes, Councillor.
At that stage, it must have gone very hectic.
Yes, Councillor.
Yes. And your first patient, Charity Ragotso, passed away on the 11th of July, a few days later.
Yes, Councillor.
That must have been a wake-up call, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, Councillor.
Did you not try to seek help at that stage?
Yes, I did.
What
because
did you do?
I asked health department, please, to just come and assist with the IDs and the files and everything.
To whom did you ask that?
Okay, I asked Anna and Rochelle Gordon because
That's Hannah Jacobus and Rochelle Gordon.
That's right, Councillor.
And what reply did you get?
Okay, they said they will come and sort it out, but
It didn't happen.
yes, Councillor.
Okay, and the next death, Mr. Robert Sitole, was on the 18th of July, a few days later. Then you really knew that you were in trouble, didn't you?
Yes, Councillor.
What did you do then?
Okay, as I'm saying, I was always screaming out for help,
But we need to know
yeah.
to whom. Otherwise we can't.
Okay, and especially with CRC also, I asked them to come and check the wards out and help with if the air.
So
with
you
the
asked
air
CCRC, did you
Yeah.
ask the Department of Health again?
I did.
To who did you speak?
I did talk to Dr. Mela and was it now? I'm not sure. Was it Anna or Rochelle?
Did you speak to Dr. Manumela herself?
Yes.
Did you phone
when
her
she
or
was
did
there.
you have
No,
a...
No, as they're coming in, then I tell them what to, can they help us with this? Because the air cons didn't work, and can they just fix the air cons for us? Because we keep on asking CRC to fix the air cons, and then they said they will place a call and then they will come out.
Ms. Franks, the aircons seems now a little bit small if 2 patients have died. What other help did you seek?
What we have done?
Now, where did you seek help to ensure
Okay.
that you don't lose another patient?
Okay, what we were trying to do, I was asking CRC whether the doctor can come and see all the patients.
And on the 24th of July, a few days later, Mr. Joseph Gumede died. You must have then realized that this can't continue. Is that so?
Yes, because
So
I
what did
said
you
it's-
do about that at that stage?
I really asked them because my patients can't carry. Okay, let me say, who did I ask? I asked Dr. Malamela and Anna as they come for their visits, please. And because we can't carry on like this. There's no doctors on the premises. And Dr. Labello just come out in certain times.
I'm not sure that I understand you correctly. It seems to me as if you say after each patient died, you realized there were a problem, but you didn't do anything proactively to approach the department. You were waiting for the department to come to you. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. They said they'll come back to me.
Is there a reason why you didn't proactively pursue to get assistance?
Meaning I pursue the doctors to come out or help to come and help us.
Is there a reason why you didn't phone Dr. Malamela, phone the Premier, phone the President saying, I'm over my head here, please come and help me?
I didn't phone the MEC, or I just made a note that they must come and help me because really,
you made a note where?
For myself, that they must come and help me.
Thank you, Justice. I've got no further questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Counsel. Advocate Groenewald.
Sorry, Justice. Okay.
Well, I had a voice from somewhere, but it looked like it's still you. You got to go ahead.
Still me. Thank you very much, Justice. Thank you, ma'am. I'm the last one, or well, the second last one to ask questions. So I've perused my list of questions, and it seems that most of the questions have been asked by my colleagues. But there's just a few outstanding issues. First thing, it's my instruction that you signed the agreement with the department on the 11th of July, 2016, your service level agreement. And that we will be able to hand up a document stating that it was signed on the 11th of July, 2016. Do you deny that? Can you confirm that?
Is it the service level agreement?
Yes, your agreement, service level agreement between yourself and the department in respect of what services you are required to render.
On which date? Sorry, Councillor.
11th of July, 2016.
If I can remember correctly, yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
So it was on the 11th of July, 2016, and you already received patients on the 23rd of June, 2016.
Yes, Councillor.
All right. So you operated for a period of 1 month. You operated without a license and without a service level agreement with the department.
Okay.
That was your testimony, ma'am. I'm not trying to trick you.
Okay,
That
no,
was just your testimony.
I just want to say on that one that I remember the service level agreement. The first time when I went in, they said to me, the copies wasn't clear. So I must just come back again and reapply for that.
Okay. But it was signed on the 11th of
Yes.
July,
Yes.
2016. And Dr. Manamela, the HOD, all the high-ranking officials, including the previous MEC, were they aware of the fact that you did not have a license at the time when you accepted patients, that you did not have a service level agreement in place at the time that you accepted patients?
I really don't know. They should have checked that.
Well, ma'am,
Sorry.
it's again not a trick question. You signed the agreement with the department only on the 11th of July. You testified that you were only provided with your license at the end of June. So those officials were responsible for that. So
Yes.
they must have known that you did not have a license and
That's
or
right.
agreement.
That's right.
You agree? Thank you. Now, ma'am, I want to take you to file 7, page 2629. If someone could just assist you file 7. Good. Thanks. That's 6, sorry. Thank you. Can you just confirm what document is that? 2629? Is it an audit checklist for Anchor Center?
Yes, Councillor.
Okay. Am I correct that this was in respect of audit done in September 2016, 19th of September 2016? Let me start off by asking, are you aware when the department conducted audits at your facility at Anchor Center?
Yes, but that was in July, in June. I'm not sure about the dates.
Was it in June? Well,
Yeah.
this document, you will note there, it's dated the 19th of September 2016. But I'd just like to take you through some of the issues that's been highlighted there. So,
Well, somebody sensed that I was looking for it last. Thank you. Ke a leboga mme.
you are on page 2629.
2626.
2629. Okay.
Yes, Councillor.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, so we know this is an audit that was done in September 2016. So you've already been, at that point in time, you've been operational for July, August, nearly 3 months. You agree?
Yes,
And
Councillor.
I want to highlight just a few issues there, and I would like to get your comment. 1.1.11. Building and grounds, that deals with the building and grounds.
1.1.
1.1.11.
Yes, Councillor.
Was any application for the construction of the facility submitted and approved? If so, is any approved documentation available? FH, what's the, still has to do renovations. So 3 months into your operating, there was still renovations that needed to be concluded.
Yes, Councillor.
1.1.14.
Hadn't you paid 5,000 rand to do renovations?
No, that was before we go in. But there was still the air cons and different things that they said, Cullinan will fix.
Anyway, listen to counsel. You'll have a lot of questions to ask on this audit report. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Justice. 1.1.14. Has the facility been inspected by the municipality to check whether the space complies with regulations in terms of health and safety? No.
No.
Page 2630. Do you have any comment on that, ma'am?
No, the municipal, they wasn't there to do inspection. It's only Cullinan.
So they didn't do an inspection.
Didn't do any inspections.
1.2.3.
So what are you saying? You're saying this report does not arise from an inspection of your premises? What was your answer to council?
The municipality didn't do inspections.
I see. Oh, that's the item of the municipality. I understand that. Okay. Please proceed.
So there was no confirmation as to whether or not it met the health and safety regulations. 1.2.3, is there adequate and functional furniture for users? Bed, toys, beds, dining room furniture. Not sufficient. Can you comment on that?
Yes, there was beds enough because we brought enough beds. It's only maybe chairs and dining. We need some more tables because we just had tables around the
So
walls.
There were beds, but not enough tables and chairs.
Yes.
Is that your? Is there adequate 1.3.1 access to basic amenities? 1.3.1. The center has access to running water, not always. Boiler something.
Yes, there was a problem with the water sometimes.
So there was, yes. Sorry?
Yes, that the boiler didn't provide us with water.
Okay, so now, ma'am, again, this is the 19th of September 2016, 3 months into your operation. How long did this last and what did you do about it?
Okay, they know about it, and I asked FMU, NL department, FMU from CRC. They said they will fix everything for us. The things that we couldn't.
Okay, but how long did this last, ma'am?
Until the time I actually left.
Until the time you left?
Yes. We tried to.
Nobody did anything about it?
Yes.
Access to electricity, 1.3.2, except admin office issue.
Yes, there was a problem with the one ceiling, and they came and actually renovated late in August, September, October.
Late in August?
Oh, no, in October.
So that was what, 4 months
Yes.
into your operation?
Yes.
But you
the
mean there was no electricity except in the admin office?
Yeah, in the admin office, the one light didn't work properly, and we keep on asking them to come and fix it for us. And I was really on them because it didn't work because in the admin office.
Then I would like to go to page 2631. 3.3.6. Now this deals with general administration and management. And once again, ma'am, your NGO has been operating for 3 months. Incident records, no. Did you have any incident records? According to me, that's quite important to know what happened to patients and how it happens and so on. Incident records? Did you have incident records?
Well, we draw up an incident report, records, but there wasn't anything filled in by then.
.3.7, policies dealing with example management of users who relapse, admission procedures, first aid procedures. No. You will agree, ma'am, that once again, those are quite essential documentation for an institution that provides a health service.
Sorry, point?
3.3.7.
Okay, that policies, we actually finalize all of them in September.
Finalized that in September.
Yes.
But at the time of inspection, there were no such policies.
Not all of them, Justice.
Then I would like to take you to pages page 2631, yes, same page. Human resources management. Number of caregivers with post-matric. I just want to confirm there if that corresponds with your calculation. Number of caregivers with post-matric education, 22. That's your total staff, your caregivers, was
Yes.
22.
Yes, and
Okay.
and
And does the center has 5.5? Does the center has accessibility to nearest clinic, hospitals for service such as speech therapy, OT, medical service, and on-site? It's an issue to which I will return, but you just want to highlight it. You utilized a number of the CCRC facilities or
yes, we normally took them to the CCRC clinic first, and if not, then we refer them to the hospital.
5.14 on the next page. Is this correct that they state here that the staff is trained in accredited first aid techniques? None, only paramedic.
Is it the caregivers?
Well, ma'am, it says the staff. Your staff, nobody is trained in first aid. There's only a paramedic, it seems. Can you provide a comment on that?
We had caregivers that was trained with the Health Nikon training center, which they have all the caregiving training there.
Then, ma'am, yeah, there's a number of issues that I can highlight here, but I would just one last one on this. 8.1.6.
Before you leave 2632, I see that the recording here is that you are a new NGO, so you had no proper budget, you couldn't reflect a surplus or shortfall. There was no account, there were no proper accounts of monies received, no financial records available,
Yes.
no proof of banking accounts. Is that true? What is recorded?
Okay, we did. We had the banking accounts.
But can you see all those things recorded in
Yes.
6.3 to 6.10?
Yes, Councillor.
Besides the banking account, are they true?
Yes, we had a banking account for the center.
Besides the banking account, is that record all true?
Sorry, which one,
From
Justice?
6.2 to 6.10.
Yeah, we didn't add a budget for shortfall because I used my own money on that one.
Okay.
The-
And 8.1.6, that's where you are now, Councillor.
Yes, indeed, sir.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Justice. Point 8 deals with medication, ma'am. 8.1.6 are all legal requirements, including for telephonic order, followed? No. Now, this is quite a concerning remark here. Are all legal requirements followed? No. So by implication, they are conducting unlawful activities. Any response to that?
No comment, Councillor.
No comment. Care of clients. Just highlight that again, and it's a point to which I will return, but 8.3.1.5 on page 2633. Availability of sick bay for ill, frail users. No. Use hospital. So you couldn't treat ill patients there at Anchor.
Yeah, we just take them to the clinic. There was a sick bay in Cullinan.
At CCRC.
CCRC, yes.
Okay. It's a point to which I will return, but yeah. Admissions. 9.2. Have they been assessed by professionals in the health system? No.
No.
So, when you received the patients from CCRC and Life Esidimeni and so on, they weren't assessed?
No, Councillor.
Then there's one issue, concerning issue, well, there's a number, but on the same page, you will go down there, addendum 1, physical environment. There's a number of issues.
But before you go, Council 9.1, the second question.
Yeah.
Are copies of admission documents available, including list of users admitted? No.
No. No, Justice.
You may proceed.
Well, I think the statement just here made by the authorities that conducted the audit is that you could not provide them with a list of admitted patients at your facility. Is that correct?
A list. I did provide it.
According to the department, it was no. Physical environment. There's a number of issues there. Ventilation. We've now just heard my colleague refer to a number of patients and their illnesses.
Yes.
The third one from the top. Ventilation. Suitable? No. Hygienic? No. Maintained? No. So with all due respect, ma'am, it's quite evident why the people got ill. Once again, it's recorded their problem with the boiler. But here's the issue. Toilets, no seats, no cover. And I put it to you that you only had 6 toilets at Anchor.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
6 toilets for how many patients?
Okay, between the 2 wards. I think
6
3 was
toilets.
that side and 3, yeah, that's right.
6 toilets, plus minus 60 patients, no seats, no covers. All right. Now, there's a number of issues here, ma'am, but the long and the short is that this is the audit conducted on the 19th of September 2016. Now, 2635. It says recommended for licensing, not recommended for licensing, recommended only when improved after second audit. It's not been encircled here, and hopefully we're going to get somebody to answer these questions. But the long and the short is this audit needs, you can confirm, you can agree with me that this audit actually needed to be conducted prior to Anchor receiving any patients. And unless this audit was a clean audit that confirms that Anchor Center had the necessary resources, no patients should have been admitted to Anchor Center.
Okay, health was conducting this, so they should have made this decision that they didn't send any patients.
Just lift your voice, please.
I said health did conduct this audit, so they should have made note that they didn't bring the patients in.
So you agree they shouldn't have sent the patients to
Yes.
Anchor Center? You agree that?
Yes.
Yeah,
And you remember this Dr. Reinprecht, who came to your premises? And who signed off here? Virtually that you shouldn't have had a license. Do you remember the discussion with him, or you were not there?
Okay, this doctor, yes, she came and they came and checked all our bedding.
Was it a lady doctor?
Lady, yes.
You remember having a discussion with her?
No, she just came and checked whether we have bedding.
Okay.
Yes, for all the patients.
So she was there and compiled the report. Thank
Yes.
you. Counsel, proceed.
Thank you, Justice. Now, I would like to take you further on in the document. At pages 2640. If I'm correct, and I will refer you to it, but this is now audit that was conducted in around about the same time, but it's referred to medical officers, psychiatrists, psychologists, social worker assistants, occupational therapists, physiotherapist assistant, utilized Cullinan Care and Training Center, Rehab Center. You had none of those facilities as well.
Yes, we utilize Cullinan.
Ma'am, now I would just like to summarize, and I would like to understand, because it seems to me that You made use of the CCRC's facilities in respect of rehabilitation. You made use of their sick bay. You made use of their kitchen. You required and requested doctors from them if there was any problem. The health department admitted and discharged patients from Anchor as they pleased. So what was it exactly that Anchor did? Your linen, if I'm not mistaken, your linen was also done by CCRC.
No, no.
You
No.
washed the linen, but you washed it in their laundry.
Yes.
All right. So, in essence, ma'am, if you can summarize for us, what is it that Anchor Center did for the patients?
Okay, the patients, they actually cared for the patient. They, in the morning, they washed them and made sure they go to bed. And we had
On that issue, you can confirm that you had 2 baths and 6 showers at Anchor.
yeah,
2 baths, 6 showers, 60 patients.
2 baths, and I'm just checking on because it was different wards. So the other 30 is in Ward 1B and the others was in Ward 1A.
But your facility, do you
Yeah,
confirm or deny 2 baths, 6 showers,
Yes.
60 patients? So if I just could take some instructions. Ma'am, I'd just like to confirm, when did the MEC or the previous MEC came to visit your Anchor Center?
It was in, I'm not sure, but it was in July.
It was only that once, end of July.
Yeah, it was in July.
End of July. But according to what you tell us now, there was an audit conducted in July as well.
Yes.
So July an audit, and we now know what was the outcome of September's audit.
Yes,
So
Councillor.
in July, the MEC or the previous MEC should have been and must have been aware of the circumstances at Anchor Center. You can agree?
Yes,
You can
Councillor.
confirm?
Yes.
Thank you, Justice. No further questions.
Thank you. And look at 2636. Do you know who compiled that document?
2636.
2636. It looks like an application. Was it compiled by you?
Oh, this is that one for Rochelle Gordon and that doctor that was there.
Is Rochelle Gordon who wrote this?
Sorry, Justice.
Was the document compiled by Rochelle
Gordon
Gordon?
and the doctor, yes.
Look at page 2649. Everything is ticked as yes, 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 yes. Can you see that? Look at page 648. The diet is nutritionally balanced, yes. Is the menu varied? Yes. Are diets appropriate? Yes. Medical conditions? Yes. Culture? Yes. Religious beliefs? Yes. Can you see that?
Yes, Count.
Who wrote that? Do you know? Is
This
that
wasn't it compiled by Rochelle?
it's Miss Rochelle Brown? I mean Gordon, sorry.
Yes.
Go back, linen, page 2648. Are there adequate supplies of bed, linen, blankets? Yes. Towels? Yes. Face cloths? Yes. Toothbrushes? Yes. Program and activities, are there daily programs available? Yes.
Yes, we did daily programs with them. We draw up a daily program for them.
And did you supply this information for them to complete this form?
They were checking on all our documents there, Justice.
Care of clients, look at page 2645. Nourishment, good. Cleanliness, good. Pressure sores, none. Open wounds, none. Respiratory infection, good, none. What is that? Clothing, good. Emotional state and content of clients, average. Sign of warmth and care, good. Did you provide that information?
They came and checked everything.
Really?
Rochelle and
On the 19th of September?
yes, yes, Doctor. Yes,
Justice?
Justice.
If I might be of assistance there,
Please do.
it's just my understanding of the documentation. It's and one of the reasons why I didn't take the witness through it. It seems from pages 2651 that this inspection was done in November 2016. So that was the time when
I left.
Anchor wasn't anymore, wasn't there anymore. So yeah.
Yes, but look at page 2636. It says name of facility, Anchor House. Can you see that? 2636. Center Manager, Dorothy Francis. Do you know who that is?
It's me, Justice.
It's you. Inspection conducted by Rochelle Gordon, M.R. Gordon, and Mr. Makudu. Did you provide this information to them, which appears on the, or were they there physically?
They were there physically and checked everything.
Anyway,
Justice, my apologies. There was one last question.
yes, certainly. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, you confirmed now that there was a number of responsibilities that you actually required CCRC to conduct. Rehab, nurses, you confirmed that some of the nurses had to assist you, confirmed that the doctors need to assist you, the sick bay, the kitchen, the laundry, etc., etc. Now, as my learned colleague also pointed out, Siabadinga was closed on the 12th of July 2016.
Yes.
We heard the testimony that those patients, 73 of them, had to be transferred back to CCRC.
Yes, Councillor.
Now, you were there, you were present. I would just like to get your view and your opinion. Will you agree with me that at the time that Siabadinga closed, there was not enough staff, personnel, facilities, resources at CCRC and or Anchor to care for and properly look after those patients?
Yes, Councillor, we couldn't help them, but they put more professionals on our side, and then we just help with some of our caregivers that side.
Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Justice.
Thank you. I'd like you to be given a document marked LR 11.
What's this?
Can somebody help the witness to get to that document, please?
Yes, Justice.
Thank you. This is a schedule, and its name appears at the top. Cullinan Care Rehabilitation Center, Master Document of Life Esidimeni, Mental Health Care Users, CCRC. Can you see that?
Yes, Justice.
And then the subtitle is Mental Health Care Users Received from Life Esidimeni. Can you see that?
Yes, Justice.
Now, the name of your facility appears often, but I'd like to take you to some of those. Do you remember, for instance, Mr. Johannes Boshoff? Who was admitted to your facility on the 23rd of June, 2016?
Johannes Boshoff.
Yes, you can see number 3 on the schedule.
I don't know whether we've got, but we didn't have a Johannes Boshoff at our center.
And he went to Anchor Life on the 23rd of June 2016. Discharged, in other words, from CCRC to yourselves. Can you see that?
I just want to make sure whether it was Johannes Boshoff.
And similarly went to Ward 5. But was readmitted to Cullinan in October 2016. Can you remember any of that?
Johannes Boshoff doesn't even appear on my list. As far as I know, as far as I think of Johannes Boshoff, it was at Siabadinga. I'm just checking
Well-
my list.
But can you see that schedule says came to you? And in October,
Yes.
assuming when you were shut down, was readmitted to CRC. Can you see that?
Yes. But I don't know about.
You don't know anything about that. Well, let's try again. Let's move at Cecilia Erasmus.
Yes, Justice.
You remember her?
Yes, Cecilia, I know.
Was one of your patients.
Yes.
Admitted on 23rd of June.
Yes.
And what happened to her? It's just
Okay.
blank there. I beg your pardon?
Okay, Cecilia was one of the patients that she was a lady, was transferred to Ethel, Precious Angels.
Transferred to where?
Precious Angels.
But let's move on. And thereafter, then we see several people. Quinton Janssen van Vieren, admitted to you 23rd of June, and readmitted back to Cullinan, to CCRC on October 16th. Can you see that?
Yes, Justice.
You remember that?
Yes, I remember Quentin.
Now, I won't take you everyone line by line, but look at the number of people who admitted in June 23rd by you and were readmitted at Cullinan in October 2016. Can you see those names?
Yes, Justice.
Let's go over to the next page. You'll find there's more people there. Some readmitted quite early, for instance, like Charity Ratsotso, readmitted 11th July 2016, went back to CCRC. Can you see that?
Yes, Justice.
According to the schedule. And we go on. There are many others. You'll see that large number of people who were readmitted October into CCRC. You get to the next page, you can see the same pattern. Some readmitted later, only in January. So it's October
Yes,
or January. Explain that to me.
Okay.
In October, what had happened?
Okay, what?
Why were all these many people readmitted to CCRC?
Okay, what happened? I was working every day actually at Anchor Center. And the CEO asked me to take leave in that space, October. And that's why because I must take leave so I don't know whether they did this when I was on leave. In November, they said I must leave.
And only few of your patients were admitted to CRC in January, but the rest were admitted in October. Did you see that on this schedule? And here comes the question. Why did they have to continue paying you when almost all of your patients were readmitted in October into
Okay, what happened, they utilized...
CCRC?
Sorry, Justice. What happened, they utilized all the workers in the different wards where they moved them.
I'm sorry, I know it's a long day, but you want to make it a little higher? Let me hear you.
Okay. What happened, they moved all our workers in different wards where they move these patients now, before I leave.
But the real cutting end of the question is, why did they continue paying you when on their records they'd readmitted almost all your patients except 3 who really died in January
They admitted...
2017? Yeah.
Sorry, Justice. They admitted the patients, but as I said, they still use all our stuff. With regard that I must pay them.
Counsel?
Thank you, Justice. We have no questions to the witness.
Yes. Re-examination?
Thank you, Justice Msaneke. Ms. Franks, just in relation to that is to your staff complement, and the date on which you received your license, that is in April 2016. Remember, your license is dated 1st April 2016. And when did you apply for this, for the record again?
Sorry, Councillor, which record?
When did you apply for the license?
For the license?
Yes.
From Health Department?
Yes.
Okay, what happened if they got all our documents like the SLA, your NPO, and then they...
When was that? When was that?
Okay, according to the license, it was the 1st of April.
Okay. And I see here that is on the 22nd of February 2016. I think sometime before you received your license, the department, specifically Dr. Manamela, had information that Anchor House has no actual, that is 150, no actual beds, but you are recorded to have 18 care workers, 2 cooks, 2 cleaners, 2 registered nurses, 2 enrolled nurses on the 22nd of February. Where was that information obtained from?
Okay, when I went to Kalafong, actually I bought beds and I asked for beds from different hospitals and I store everything there. And the care workers, I actually liaise with them that they will come and work if we open up.
So you already had employees by this time?
I didn't employ them yet. I just note them that they must, if we're going to start, they must come and work for us.
Okay. So according to this minute, it will be a misrepresentation by Dr. Manamela to record on the 22nd of February 2016 that you already had 18 care workers, 2 cooks, 2 cleaners, 2 registered nurses, 2 enrolled nurses. And for the record, let me refer you to where this appears. That is on volume 8 of a minute, which appears on page 2765. And the specific page is 2767. Yeah, that's where Anchor House is referred to.
Thank you.
Two 2767.
That's correct.
Yes, Councillor.
That's where this information I had just placed before you appears. Do you see that? Under Anchor House, the last block.
Yes, Councillor.
Well, let's ask the witness, was she there at this meeting? This is a meeting between NGOs and the department on the 22nd of February 2016.
Were you at this meeting?
On the 2nd of February. I'm really not sure about that.
Yes.
But as far as I know, that records was contract to the patients that you have to take in.
Was?
The records that they put there.
Yes.
Because I know only about the care workers that I said. I've got care workers from Eltnicon, and the beds and all that was stored there at Kalafong, which we transferred also. But the other information, she just mentioned that we have to have these enrolled nurses and registered nurses.
No, but when you're at the meeting, the idea is to find out
Sure, I'll have to.
how this information came into
I'm
this
not
minute
sure.
of the meeting between NGOs and the department. Did you
I'm
provide
really
that
not
information?
I'm really not sure whether I was at that meeting. I just have to make sure.
And the referred 150 beds, where did it come from? Do you know?
As I was saying, I bought some beds from Mediclinic, and I asked the other hospitals whether they can supply us with beds that they not use.
Yes, we know now that you signed the service level agreement in July. That is 11 July.
Yes, Councillor.
I'm sure you'll want to see the specific passage where it appears. Let me refer you to it. It's on volume 6, page 2010. And the signature is on page 2041 of that document.
Yes, Councillor, can you rephrase?
Your service level agreement was signed on the 11th of, that is July 2016.
Yes, Councillor.
Already by 22nd February 2016, there was all this information about Anchor House. How did they know that they were going to use Anchor House? Or how did they know that you are going to comply with this requirement or statutory requirements? Or you will have a license issued to you?
Okay, this was just information that they gave us that we must get ready for when we open up.
And you had applied already by then 22nd of February?
Applied for, only for the NPO.
Yes. Why at the meeting of the 22nd February, that is 2 months before you will be issued with a license, and some 4 months before, 4 or 5 months before, the service level agreement could be signed with you. Your NGO was discussed at the meeting of the department, and which meeting produced this minute that you'll have around 150 beds, although you don't have the actual beds. You will have this staff complement which is referred to. How did it come about that your name was discussed at this meeting?
Okay, because we went and applied already.
Yes.
In March, February, March, but we didn't add the NPO yet.
Yes.
And that's, I gave them the name because I apply under that name.
Oh, I see. So this information came from you?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Justice Msnack, I don't have anything else that's on this. Thank you.
Ms. Franks, it's just been a long day for you and for us. And again, thank you for having had the courage to come here and be here and tell us what happened. As you know, that is necessary for hopefully closure of family members whose loved one died under your care.
Yes, Councillor.
And the constant question is, how did the people die?
Sorry, I don't understand.
I say the constant question from family members would be, how did their loved ones die? The normal question that anybody asks, everybody asks when they've lost a loved one. Under what circumstances did they die? We haven't had much help from you today. We don't know yet how those people who were in your hands died. I'll just give you a last opportunity to tell us, what do you think? How did the 5 people who died at Anchor Center die? What do you think are the contributory causes towards their death?
Okay, what I think it was the environment, as we were noted that FMU didn't, the aircons and the place wasn't finalized with the municipality.
And what else do you think would have contributed to the death of the deceased? Those in your care in particular.
That's what I can think of.
I beg your pardon?
I said that's where I can maybe the environment or maybe the placement when they were placed there will interrupt their way of, because they were stable in life and now they were interrupted and transferred to us.
You've already said that you would never do it again if you're asked to do it
Yes.
again. Why
Justice.
not?
Because as I was seeing, this project was too fast on us, and this project was just, they brought it down to us too fast. We should have done it systematically. They should have done it systematically.
And did you realize that without the identity documents, the medical records, and the inevitable crowding that was forced on you,
Yes.
that would pose a risk to the well-being of your patients?
that because everything was just too fast for
Yeah.
us.
But did you realize that this would pose a risk to the well-being of your patients?
The well-being, yes, the justice.
Did you make any profit out of this exercise?
No justice.
And all of the money you earned from the cards that you held on you, the grant cards, and from the department, was it not enough to meet your expenses?
No justice, because we couldn't hire doctors. We couldn't do sufficient professionals because we had to go to the clinics, to the
But
hospital.
did you make any profit out of it?
No justice.
Why not?
Because it's not a profitable, non-profitable organization. And I didn't make any profit because the money that I held the surplus I gave back also.
You're allowed to make a profit as long as you don't put it into your pocket. So I want to know whether your organization made any profit. After paying its expenses, was it left with a surplus?
Yes, it was left with a surplus. Because as we went through the year that Kalinin taking nurses over in a certain time, so we withdraw, and that's why the surplus was there.
And what do you want to say, if anything? It's an opportunity. Do you want to talk to the family members who are here? Do you want to talk to anybody who's listening to you about the project and its outcomes?
Okay, well, I just want to say that it's really sad that this project was done, how can I say, unprofessionally. Not only from our side, but from health department too.
And do you have any personal regrets?
I do have, because I didn't expect that this would have happened to us. So, because I put...
Us being who?
Well, us, the whole at Anchor Center who worked there. And because it was really not a good thing that we could just, when we went in there, it wasn't actually, how can I say, explained properly to us, done properly. And now we stand in the situation that we didn't expect that it would have happened to us. So if I have to go further on, I just have to make sure that everything must be in place before you start anything. And I'm really sorry for the families that this thing happened to them and to us, because I also feel sad about what happened.
Is there anything else you want to say?
So I just want to ask them forgiveness if I did anything wrong.
Do you think you did anything wrong?
Well, from my point of view, I tried my utmost best to...
But do you think you did anything wrong?
No justice, because everything
No.
was...
Have you made any statement to the police so far?
Sorry, Justice?
Have you made any statement to the police so far?
Yes, I did.
Which police?
Sorry?
Which police?
It is, I think it's yesterday in Pretoria.
When was this?
It was, other than that, they were still busy last week with it also. It's from, actually, October, September, January, February, from March.
Very well. Are you done with what you want to tell us?
Yes, Justice.
You are excused from there. You may leave.
Thank you, Justice.
Thank you. We have some work to do in chambers. Is there anything that any of council would like to say now before we adjourn?
Justice Mseneke, the only thing that I will say for now is that we'll adjourn these proceedings to, today and resume on the 8th of November, that is next month, at the same time, 9:30.
Yeah, it's a little bit over a week, but we're going to adjourn till the 8th of November, and we're going to be hearing more evidence of a wide variety then. Anything else that council would like to say about that? Well, we stand adjourned till the 8th of November at 9:30. Okay.